A man came home at 4 a.m. from his mother's hospital bed. He found his girlfriend and his stepbrother in his sheets. He didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't beg for an explanation. He bagged up the bedding, took a cold shower, and went back to the hospital. 1 year later, his stepbrother called him crying, homeless, and broken. He laughed, then he hung up.
My stepbrother slept with my girlfriend while my mom was dying. I let karma handle it. It's 3:45 in the morning. The streets are empty. I've got the windows down and the radio loud because if I don't, I'll fall asleep at the wheel. My back is destroyed from 3 days in a hospital recliner. My eyes feel like they've been filled with sand. I smell like antiseptic and stress sweat and whatever they pump through the ventilation system and IQ units. Patricia, the night nurse who knows my name and my coffee order at this point, told me to go home. Go home, Nathan. Sleep in a real bed. We've got her. I promise. So I went. My mom's oxygen had stabilized. Her breathing evened out. The monitor stopped screaming for one night, and she slipped into something that looked, for the first time in weeks, like actual rest. I kissed her forehead. I told her I'd be back in the morning. I drove home. I noticed the car parked on the street before I even pull into my spot. Not Riley's, but familiar in a way I can't place. My brain is running at maybe 40% capacity, so I file it under neighbor's guest and move on. The living room light is on. I always turn everything off. It's a habit, almost compulsive, so that registers somewhere in the back of my head, but I'm too tired to chase it. Then I hear the sounds, upstairs, my bedroom. I stand at the bottom of the stairs for 30 seconds, maybe longer. My brain is doing this thing where it keeps presenting the obvious conclusion and then immediately rejecting it like a computer running a file it can't open. There's an explanation. There's always an explanation. My feet don't wait for my brain to finish the argument. One step, then another, then another. I open the door. Riley, Jared, my bed, the bed I bought with my own money when I moved into this place, the sheets I'd washed 3 days ago before the hospital, before the bad turn, before Patricia told me to go home because I actually take care of my space. Time does something strange. It slows and speeds simultaneously. I notice everything with this horrible, involuntary precision. Riley's clothes on the floor, Jared's shoes by the door, a bottle of wine on the nightstand, the good kind Riley liked that I'd been saving for a special occasion. Apparently this was the occasion. They scramble. She grabs the sheet. He grabs his clothes. Nobody speaks for 10 seconds that feel like 10 minutes. Then Riley's voice, shaking. Nathan, I can explain. Get out! Please, just get out of my house. Pay close attention to this part because this is the moment that defines everything that comes after. Jared is looking at me the way he used to look at me when we were teenagers and he'd broken. Something in my room, that same expression, that same flinch, like he's 13 years old again and he already knows he's wrong and he's just waiting for the consequence. Bro, I'm so sorry. It just happened. Don't. One word. That's all I gave him. Don't call me that. You're not my brother. Get out before I make you. He saw something in my face. I don't know what it was, but he didn't argue. He grabbed his clothes and he moved faster than I've ever seen a person move. Riley was already crying, apologizing between sobs, the words running together into this wall of noise I couldn't process. I didn't process it. I just watched them leave, heard Riley's car start, heard it pull away, then silence. I stood in my bedroom and felt absolutely nothing. Not anger, not grief, not betrayal. Just this flat, gray emptiness, like my brain had hit some kind of emotional circuit breaker and simply shut down all non-essential functions. My mom was dying in a hospital bed 5 miles away. These two people, the ones who were supposed to hold me together while that was happening, had used the hours I was watching her fade to come back here and do this, in my bed, with my wine. I stripped the bed without thinking, pulled every sheet, every pillowcase, the comforter, the pillow covers, stuffed all of it into garbage bags. Didn't consider washing it. Didn't consider keeping any of it. Just needed it gone.
Notice what he didn't do. He didn't chase them, didn't demand explanations, didn't make a scene. At his absolute lowest point, 3 days of no sleep, mother actively dying, he processed the worst betrayal of his life by making his bed and going back to the hospital. That kind of emotional control isn't coldness. It's damage running so deep the surface goes completely still.
My mom raised me alone from the time I was 6 years old. 2 jobs, 1 small apartment, 0 complaints. I remember being 8 years old, watching her come home at 11 p.m. from her second shift dental office in the morning. Call center at night, exhausted in a way that lived in her bones. She'd still sit down with me and help with homework, never once made me feel like a burden, never acted like our situation was anything other than normal. She turned down dates because she didn't want to bring strange men around her kid. She worked holidays so I'd have something under the tree. She went without new clothes for years so I'd have school supplies. Everything she did for me. So when the doctor sat us down, her in the paper gown, Greg holding her hand, me standing against the wall because there weren't enough chairs and said stage 4, 3 to 6 months, I didn't ask myself whether I'd be there. Of course I'd be there. I took family leave from work, showed up every day, managed medications, coordinated appointments, handled the things Greg couldn't handle, and the things Mom refused to ask anyone to handle. I watched the strongest person I'd ever known get smaller, slower, quieter. I sat in chairs designed to torture, and I did not leave. Riley had been supportive at first, coffee at the hospital, encouraging texts. She'd sit with my mom when I needed to step out. She did all the right girlfriend things, but after a few weeks I could feel the shift. Comments about how I was always at the hospital. Eye rolls when I mentioned another appointment. Your mom has a husband now. You don't have to do everything yourself. Like showing up for my dying mother was optional. Like it was something I could schedule around date nights. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Caregiving is hard on everyone in the orbit. She was losing time with her boyfriend. I understood that. I just thought she'd stick it out anyway, because that's what love does. I was wrong about that. Jared started coming around the hospital about 6 weeks in. Said he wanted to support Greg, wanted to be there for the family. He'd bring food for everyone, make small talk with the nurses, keep Greg company during the hard hours. I thanked him multiple times, told him it meant a lot that he was finally stepping up. What I didn't know, what I had absolutely no bandwidth to notice, was that he and Riley had started talking. A lot. Updates about my condition, how to best support me. Coffee that turned into lunch, lunch that turned into dinner. My brain was completely consumed by my mother dying. The last thing I was checking for was whether my girlfriend and my stepbrother were getting too friendly. Why would I?
This is how the deepest betrayals happen, not through grand schemes, through incremental normalization. Each step seemed innocent. Checking in became coffee. Coffee became dinner. Dinner became might as well. And the whole time, the person being betrayed was in a hospital room, too devastated to look sideways. They didn't just betray him, they used his grief as cover.
My phone has 7 missed calls from Riley by the time I get out of the shower. 12 texts, 3 voicemails. I delete all of them without reading a single word. Block her number. Block Jared's. Block both of them on every platform I can think of. Then I sit on my couch and watch the sun come up. I don't think about anything. I just exist in the gray space between what my life was 3 hours ago and whatever it is now. Watch the light shift from black to gray to that strange orange that means morning actually arrived. At some point, I get in the car and drive back to the hospital. Mom is awake when I get there. Looks a little better. Ask where I've been. I went home to shower and change. That's all I give her. She accepts it. We spend the rest of the day together, her talking about old memories, me holding her hand, both of us pretending the monitors aren't there. She dies 2 days later, peaceful, surrounded. I hold it together through the funeral, through the reception, through all of it. 3 days after we bury her, Riley and Jared show up at my door. Together, I open it just wide enough to see their faces. Riley's eyes are swollen. Jared looks like he hasn't slept since the night I walked in on them. There's this prepared quality to both of them, like they rehearsed this on the drive over. We need to talk. No, we don't. Please, we owe you an explanation. You don't owe me anything. We're done. Leave. Jared steps forward. Man, I know what we did was wrong. Wow, thanks for that incredible insight. It just happened, Riley blurts out. Her voice cracks on the word happened. We didn't plan it. We weren't trying to hurt you. It just we feel terrible. I actually laugh. Not a polite laugh. Not a short exhale. A full, genuine laugh, right there in the doorway, because it just happened is genuinely the funniest thing I've heard in days. You feel terrible. Got it. You can feel terrible somewhere else. I close the door. They knock for 5 more minutes. I don't move from the couch. If you've ever had someone destroy your trust and then show up expecting absolution, you know exactly what that knock sounds like. Not like an apology, like an invoice. 2 weeks after the funeral, they're Instagram official. Couple photos, matching captions, the whole performance. My mom has been in the ground for 14 days, and they're posting sunset pictures together. That's when I understand that this wasn't a moment of weakness. This was a choice they made, decided to keep, and built a relationship on. They didn't fall into anything. They jumped. I block every remaining connection, purge every trace, tell the mutual friends I don't want updates. Then I go back to work.
He didn't rage, didn't try to expose them, didn't recruit the friend group. He just disappeared from their orbit entirely and redirected every unit of energy he would have spent on anger into building his own life. That's not indifference. That's the most precise form of consequence he could have chosen. He made himself unreachable, and unreachable to people who counted on his stability is devastating.
Unknown number. I almost don't answer. I'm expecting a contractor call, so I pick up. Nathan, heavy breathing. Voice I recognize instantly, even though I haven't heard it in a year. It's Jared. I say nothing. I need help. I know I don't deserve it, but I don't have anywhere to go. His voice cracks. He's crying. What happened, Riley? Long pause. She cheated on me, with my cousin. I found out this morning, and I don't have anywhere to go, man. Please. I sit with that for a moment. Then I start laughing. Not a chuckle. Not a quiet exhale through the nose. A real, full belly laugh that comes from somewhere I didn't know still existed. Let me guess, I say, still laughing. It just happened. She didn't plan it. She feels terrible. Silence. That's what she said, isn't it? More silence. Sounds like it just happened. Hope you guys worked through it. I hang up. He calls back immediately. I block the number. Over the next 3 days, calls come from numbers I don't recognize. Borrowed phones. All Jared phones. All some version of the same message, please. Just a few days. Just somewhere to stay. Just someone to talk to. I block everyone without responding. Then Greg calls. Out of respect for him, a man who never did anything to me, I answer. Nathan. I know you don't owe Jared anything. You're right. I don't. He's in a bad place. He made a mistake. He made a choice. At my lowest point. Now he's dealing with consequences. Not my problem. He's family. No, he's not. We were stepbrothers. Past tense. He ended that. Greg sighs. I understand you're angry. I'm not angry. I'm indifferent. Anger would mean I care. Tell Jared to figure it out. I hang up. I block Greg's number. That one actually cost me something. Greg was decent, but I can't have him calling every time his son needs rescuing. Some bridges stay burned. About a month later, I'm at an industry mixer, the kind of professional networking event I used to dread but have learned to work. I'm mid-conversation with a potential client when I see her across the room, Riley catering uniform, tray of appetizers, dark circles visible from 15 feet away. Hair that used to be always perfect, pulled back in something that looked like defeat. Our eyes meet for 1 second. I look back at my client and keep talking. She comes by eventually. Stuffed mushroom? No thanks. She lingers. I shift my body slightly, a small, deliberate movement that closes the conversation. She reads it and moves on. After the event, she's waiting by my car. I'll give her credit for the persistence. Please don't call security. I just want to say one thing. I stop. 30 seconds. She tells me she knows she doesn't deserve forgiveness. She's not asking for that. She just wants me to know that she understands what she threw away. That she's sorry not because her life fell apart, but because she hurt me when I needed her most. I look at her. Actually look at her. She seems genuine. Broken, but genuine. Okay, I say. She blinks. Okay, I heard you. You're sorry. I accept that you're sorry. Sorry, matamayo. Does that mean? It means nothing. You're sorry. Noted. That doesn't change anything. Doesn't make us friends. Doesn't mean I'm involved in your life in any way. It just means I acknowledge that you said the words. The hope dies. So that's just it? We were always nothing after that night. You made that choice. I'm just living inside it. She starts crying. I get in my car. Watch her in the rearview mirror standing in the parking lot, hands over her face. I drive away. Feel nothing. That was 6 months ago. I haven't heard from either of them since. Last update through the grapevine and I've mostly stopped listening. Jared left the state. Fresh start somewhere else. Riley is working retail, living with her parents. The relationship that was worth burning everything for lasted exactly 1 year before it consumed itself. Meanwhile, I got promoted to senior project manager. Substantial raise. Renovated the entire townhouse, new furniture, new paint, every room. Erased the old version of that life completely. Started running. Half marathons now. The physical exhaustion has a way of metabolizing the kind of grief that has nowhere else to go. Started dating someone new. Lauren, civil engineer, smart, independent, and most importantly trustworthy in the specific way you can only appreciate after you've had trust weaponized against you. Got a rescue dog named Cooper, best judge of character I've ever met. He growls at people who aren't right. Would have been useful a few years ago. My friend's circle is smaller now, but every person in it showed up when my mother was dying and stayed after. No excuses, no sides, just presence. That's the whole standard now. Show up when it costs you something. Everything else is noise. Some of the mutual friends who defended Riley and Jared have started coming back around. Apparently watching my life improve while watching theirs fall apart has a way of recalibrating people's moral math. Dave called last month, apologized, said he gets it now. His girlfriend had cheated on him. He tried to forgive her. Learned the hard way why I hadn't. I appreciated the apology, but we're not close anymore. Too much water. Too many conversations where he chose the wrong side. I don't need people to understand my choices. I don't need validation for protecting my own peace. I know what they did. I know what it cost me. That's enough. Here's the only thing I'll say about all of it. Forgiveness is not the same as consequences disappearing. You can forgive someone and still never answer their calls. You can wish someone well and still never open your door. You can let go of the anger genuinely, let it go, and still refuse to be anyone's safety net. Being the bigger person doesn't mean absorbing unlimited damage with a smile. It means building something so solid that the people who tried to break you can't even see it from where they ended up. They made their choice in my bed, with my wine, while I was watching my mother die. I made mine at the bottom of those stairs. Some choices stay made.